Hi everybody, hello, welcome back to THE Student Webinars. We're here today with PoliMi, Politecnico Di Milano, who are here to talk to you about Italy and all things Milan and why you should be studying with them. Any questions that you have, we do welcome them. Please do ask them throughout the webinar where we are with you for a whole hour and hopefully a whole hour. Let's see how we go with everything and all of your questions. Like I said, please do ask them. We have a Q&A box at the bottom of your screen there, so we can welcome them in and answer those at the very end. We have your host here, Gabrielle Farina, who will be the main speaker for today. So I'm going to hand you over to your host.
Thank you, Stavrulla, and I'll start without further ado to introduce Politecnico di Milano, which is the best university in Italy if you want to study engineering, architecture, or design. But first of all, I would like to let Ryan, which is one of our students, to introduce himself. Ryan.
Hello, everybody. I'm, as it says, Ryan from middle of nowhere, Piedmont, South Dakota. If you've ever heard of it, I'm surprised. But I went to school in the same state in South Dakota for electrical and electronics engineering bachelor degree. And then I worked for 3 years in Iowa for eventually coming and applying to be here at Politecnico di Milano to further my electronics understanding. And I've been studying here for a year and a half, graduating soon. And it's been a ride. It's been exciting. It's been a very enjoyable experience overall, and I would do it again in a heartbeat.
That's nice to hear, Ryan. In fact, coming from North Dakota to Italy must be a shock. Politecnico di Milano is located, as the name says, in Milan, which is the heart of the Italian economy, and it is located in one of the most industrial and productive regions in Europe. But not only that, maybe you know Milan already for the fashion industry and the architecture, which are also part of our academic offer, as you will know soon. And in fact, Politecnico di Milano really embodies the city of Milan. Those are strictly linked together, and again, they share the same spirit. In fact, also Milan is a very cosmopolitan city and probably the most international city in Italy. As I love to say, is what links Italy with and connects with the rest of Europe. So it is there's something to do for everything you like to do for its cultural offer and all this kind of activities which are related to our university, but also in the city itself. Of course, we are not located just in Milan. There are also other campuses in nearby cities like Lecco, Cremona, Mantova, and Piacenza that host some other programs, especially in engineering and architecture, whereas design and all the courses and programs of design are, for the time being at least, are located in the campus of Milano Bovisa, which is in the northern part of the city, whereas our main main part is the campus of Milano Leonardo, which hosts courses of engineering, in which Ryan is studying right now. So I don't know if Ryan wants to say something about that.
I do. The Leonardo campus is super cool. It's got like the older buildings, and there's nice plazas right out front in the middle of the school where you get to walk through. And it's just nice to, it's nice to see the architectural buildings of old from when it first opened still being there and still used, and it feels like you're entering a school that's as old as Politecnico is and revered as Politecnico whenever you enter through the doors.
Yeah, it is. Polytechnic in general is really connected with the tissue, the very soul of the city. This is true also for the campus of Bovisa, which is located in a previously not so beautiful area, but now we are doing some projects with the Politecnico di Milano just to make those areas better. So we are really part of the city, even in this aspect. Coming more to more data about Politecnico di Milano, just to give an overview of who we are, if you haven't already read something about us. We are, as I've said, the first university in Italy overall, and worldwide we are in the 8th position for design, the 10th for architecture, and the 18th position for engineering, at least according to the QS University ranking. And we are roughly we are in partnership with other European universities, especially like the Technical University of Zurich or the University of Aachen, which are all technical university, very famous technical university, where we have a lot of different partnership and double degree agreements. And we are in cooperation with them also for research at a PhD level. So this is our the most important part of our network, but we are really connected with many other universities in Europe and worldwide. Of course, we are, as you can see, a technical university, and therefore we are really focused on research and on laboratories. In fact, we are the first Italian university for project funded by the European Commission for research project, and we really receive a lot of funds also from not only from the Italian state and the European Union, but also from private companies, because we do a lot of research also for private company inside our university, which is a point where I'll touch later. But just to say that we are really keen on research. It is really important for us. And in fact, we also hold 6 large infrastructures, such as, for example, the wind tunnel, when they test a lot of different vehicles and how they interact with the wind and the air, but also other laboratories for material testing or for driving simulation. As you see from our numbers from of laboratories are quite high, especially for the Italian standard. We are a quite big university, so. This is just our the student journey and how it works in Italy. We start to study after 13 years of schooling, but in order to have access to the bachelor degree, for us it is still enough to have 12, because worldwide in general 12 is standard, but Italian students tend to study a little bit more in a high school. And after 3 years of Bachelor of Science, we have access to the Master of Science, which in Italy lasts 2 years. And as you can see, most of our programs at master degree level are entirely taught in English, such as the program that Ryan is currently studying in. And then if you want to go on with research, to go deeper maybe in your thesis, in the subject of your thesis, or to do academic research, or to do research also in companies, you can do a PhD, what we call dottorato di ricerca. And again, even in this case, the programs are entirely held in English. As you can imagine, the fact that we have a lot of programs taught entirely in English, it is really important for our international community, and therefore the courses at master degree level and PhD level are really, really appealing for them. In fact, the 75% roughly of our international community is located at postgraduate level, but we have a rising number in PhD and at the undergraduate level. I mentioned that we are a big university. We have a 48K enrolled student overall, and 7,500 of international students coming from very different countries, including USA and Canada. Every year we have around 30 students from the US, 30 or 40, depends from the year, and around 10 Canadian, at least at master level. Plus there are other students that chose to enroll in a PhD or at undergraduate level. Again, these are our study areas: engineering, architecture, and design. And here you can see for a list of our programs. There is really a vast choice of program for engineering, and basically every year we launch a new program, because you have to keep in mind that most of our program are divided into sub-tracks. So it means that once you are enrolled in a program, you can customize it a little bit more and specialize again in something more specific. So sometimes we decide to, instead of doing a track inside an existing program, to create a new program from the start. This is, for example, the case of high performance computing engineering, which is focusing, as the name says, in quantum computing, which are quite in a good position for that in Italy. We do a lot of research on that field, but you can go from, as you can see, from a more traditional field of engineering, like civil engineering or chemical engineering, to more niche fields like geoinformatics, or again high performance computing. So you have a lot of choices to made for our program of engineering. We are even in architecture and design, there's a good choice of program. Again, all this program that I've shown you here and here are entirely taught in English, so Italian is not required. And again, even in architecture and design, you can choose your field to specialize in. There's also a case in design where we have this program of design and engineering, which you can have access to it with both background. You can enter it with a background in design or with a background in engineering. This is a very multidisciplinary, and in general, our design at Politecnico Di Milano is very industry oriented. So this is one of our main point. How do you get into the requirement into the program? Those are really straightforward, as you can see. The requirements are a bachelor degree in a field related to the Master of Science we are applying to. Some country-specific requirements, but in general, those are not for USA and Canada. But for other countries, we require, for example, a minimum GPA, and of course, English language proficiency. Where probably in this webinar, I'm the one with the lowest proficiency level, I'm quite sure. And the interesting thing about the application process is that it is entirely online, so you don't have to send anything via post on paper, and you do not have entry test, admission test, or interview. It's just about the evaluation of your previous academic career at bachelor level. Then you just have to select the program of interest and upload the documents. You do not have to do and pay, of course, the application fee. Otherwise, your application won't be considered. And coming to the language, I've said that most of our program, if not the majority, at least at master and PhD level, are entirely taught in English. Therefore, Italian proficiency is not required at all for the admission. However, for us, it is important to help you to learn Italian, and we gently nudge you to learn it while you are here, because it is important for socializing with other students, and even to get internship and jobs in Italy if you want to stay here. Consider that you can prolong your period of stay of 1 year if you want to look for a job in Italy. So you have also this opportunity while you are enrolling for a master degree program. So we nudge you to reach a very minimal level of Italian before your graduation. It is really easy. It's an exit requirement. So plus you have to consider that all the courses of Italian for foreigners in Politecnico di Milano are completely free. Again, because it is important for us, and we want to nudge you to learn a little bit of Italian in your period of 2 years. If you want to apply to our master degree program, there is a call which is open right now until November, as you can see. And there will be another call in January, and it will be closed by the end of February. Those calls are useful if you want to start in September 2024, which is the normal start of the academic year here in Italy. If you are interested in applying to the program in the area of engineering, you will have other bonus call, let's say, from May to July and in January. However, this call are for starting in February 225. So you will start in the second semester and not in the first one. That's all. I would like to mention also that it is really important that you can apply even if you do not have your bachelor ready right now and you're still in the process. It is just important to have it before for the admission phase, let's say. But during the process of application, it is not important. It's just in the enrolling phase that becomes important to already have the bachelor. So you do not need it for your application. It is not fundamental. It helps only for the calculation of your CGPA, but in itself is not a problem if you're not graduated yet. And the mandatory documents are pretty standard, I think. I don't know if Ryan want to say something about the GRE or other documents, the CV.
So for the GRE, I know most universities in the United States require it to go back for a master's degree, but it's not really required here. It does, I think it helps your application for consideration, like if you wanted scholarships or if you're on the border between somebody else that's rated the same as you, it could help, but it's not actually required. So if there's space and you meet the requirements, you can get in that way. The CV is probably important to maybe investigate that the European CVs are very different from American ones. I'm not sure for Canada, but I know like in the US where you're not supposed to put any photos on it and it's mostly white and are like just words and there's only one column pretty much, but in the European one it's a lot more like I don't know, like you have to.
It goes probably more into details. I would say probably that's the main difference. For us, the CV is important that you put in it what you cannot say in other documents, basically. So your professional experience, if you already have it, like Ryan already had professional experience. So in this case, it is important for us to see it because it adds something to evaluate your application. It says more about you, and the same goes for the letter of motivation or the letter of recommendation. Those are optional documents again, but especially if you are applying for a competitive, really competitive program, I strongly recommend to get those documents because those give an edge in comparison with other candidates. So if you have the possibility to get them, just do it. And probably you're wondering about the cost of our master degree program, and there is a standard price for that, which is 3,900 euros for every year for 2 years. Of course, this is for all the international students, so the non-European one. However, you can reduce it if you get a merit-based scholarship. You see the branches of merit-based scholarship here in the slides. What are the criteria for merit-based scholarship? Basically, you don't even have to fill in a separate application because for us, the very fact that you are an international student applying to a master degree program, it means that you kind of want this kind of scholarship, and your evaluation for a scholarship are based on the same document that you provide for the application itself. So there's no need to asking for something more. And on the basis of that, our professor can decide if you are eligible or not for those merit-based scholarship. There are not standard criteria because the professor will compare all the candidates and decides basically who deserves the most this kind of scholarship. Those are quite convenient because even the lowest branch is just a fee waiver. So you'll pay no fees for studying at Politecnico di Milano, and it is quite convenient. And there are also some additional scholarships which are not managed directly by Politecnico di Milano. This means that you should fill in a separate application to our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which manage this kind of a scholarship. Plus, there are also other scholarships like the Fulbright. We had some students for Fulbright last year in architecture, I remember. So it is also a possibility. And another thing that it is important for Politecnico di Milano, and I would like to say something about that, is the paid collaboration. So basically, we offer you the possibility to work with us, as Ryan is doing. Ryan, want to say something about this the paid collaboration?
I mean, it's a great option because it's pretty flexible on when you work or when you have time. You can do simple stuff, or you can, like, it's all stuff you kind of know. Like this, it's pretty easy to talk about what I literally have done for 2 years. It's pretty simple to do from my experience to people like you guys from the United States already in Canada that have similar backgrounds cultural wise, and then or like answering emails for like the process for applying, which you've just, if you get in, you've just done it, so you kind of know it also just as well because you've already been through the whole process. So it's a good work. And they pay pretty well, especially for like a part-time job where you pick your hours and stuff. So,
and the most important thing is that probably the price for this collaboration will get up in the next years. So for the time being, is around 13 euros per hour, but it should raise until 18, I guess. But it is not confirmed now, but it will probably go up. And yes, the important thing is that you do some jobs in campus, so you don't have to commute to other part of the city, or worse, to skip lessons because you have to work, because we are able to adjust the time of your lessons with the time of your work here. So this is a really convenient option, and it is very popular. Plus, there are really every year there are more and more collaboration, because we prefer it in comparison to the scholarship. There are a lot more resources for that, and you'll do sometimes also work that are good for you, and not just replying to email. In fact, there are a lot more creative roles that you can do. And here you find a list of the average living expenses, at least in Milan. Consider that the benefit of being in other campuses in smaller cities is that the cost of living is a lot lower. So you can save money if you choose a program that is hosted in those campuses. But anyway, don't get scared by the cost of living, because you can reduce it a lot if you choose to live not right next to the campus. You have to consider that transportation in Milan works really well. So we do not have exactly a college system. We have some dorms you can apply to, but in general, Italian student and international student in Italy relies on private accommodation. So a lot of them choose to live in the suburbs, which are safe anyway, and or in nearby towns and cities, because the transportation system works really well. It is not just for saying, because I know, because I've done that myself, because I commute to Milan. I live in the countryside, and I've got no trouble at home at all in my life, because I just take the bus and then the metro system. It is really efficient, and it helps you to reduce your cost of living. So considers also that option, and you can enjoy the campus in any case, even if you are not right next to it. I would just spend some words on PhDs. We also offer PhDs entirely taught in English. As you can see, most of them are in the field of engineering, but we also have them in architecture and design, if you are interested in into this after the master degree. Notice that the master degree is compulsory if you want to apply for a PhD program. You cannot do it with just a bachelor. And PhDs are involved in more research activities, and they were able to do research and to develop something that you have already done in their thesis, for example. And they are paid for that. Legally, it is a scholarship, but in practice, they receive a salary for their work in Politecnico di Milano. Calls are open throughout all the years, so if you're interested in that, you can contact my colleague of the PhD office. And the requirement for the PhDs are pretty much the same as with the ones for the master degree programs. The only difference is, again, that you need a master degree, a master degree in order to apply for a PhD. About life at PoliMi, I'll leave the floor to Ryan because we'll have a lot of different services. Ryan, want you to just to say something?
Yeah, so I took advantage of quite a few of the services that are provided, are the life kind of there. So when you first arrived, I definitely did the welcome activities where you came and attended information sessions and got to know what things were important for campus, what things were important, did tours of the campus, went and met some of the different student groups and other such things like Erasmus. And it kind of helps you get oriented with the school a bit. And then I had a buddy program that's not on the list, but where the school assigns you a buddy that knows the school already, who's been here, and they kind of hang out with you, teach you what the ropes. And my buddy and I ended up being good friends, and we hang out often outside of campus. And for 2 years now, we've been hanging out quite regularly. Then Erasmus is a great organization to get in part of because it's all international students except for the Italians that run it, because the Italian local students kind of organize events like tours of the city of Milan, like history tours of the skyscrapers around the city. Yep. They do tandem events, all kinds of tours all over the country itself.
There are a lot of occasions to connect, and plus, since the pandemic is over, we are hosting again events on campus. So there are really a lot of occasion for cultural exchange and connecting with other students and do extra activities, which are too many to list here actually. And coming to the best point, I think, of Politecnico Di Milano is the employability. In fact, most of our students find a job even before graduation, and it is the case of Ryan also. He has a job before, but yeah. Ryan, do you already find a job? You said that to me before.
So I've got a job I've had it for 3 months now, I think. But I've had an offer and accepted it, and so I'm just ready to go as soon as I graduate here. No problem.
Yep.
And it's not even in Italy. This one's in France, so it's recognized even outside of Italy pretty well.
Our degrees are recognized throughout all Europe and are really prestigious in the context of European universities. So you don't have to worry that your title isn't worth enough, because we have a network of Politecnico di Milano students across the entire world. So there are a lot of them around. And we also help them with the career service, which organize a lot of job fairs inside the campus. It provides career guidance, organize job fairs, a workshop, and we are in a good connection with a lot of industry in our region and also worldwide. So that's the reason why our employability rate is so high, according to the ranking, but in general, the statistics regarding our graduate students are excellent for us. And our graduates have no problem in general in finding a rewarding job after that. And it goes the same for the PhDs, actually. Most of them are employed into university, of course, but nearly half of them go into also in private industry. So it's not only for research in the academia, but also outside it. And if you have some more entrepreneurial mindset, we also have a startup accelerator that offer a lot of different projects you can cooperate in. And if you have some entrepreneurial idea, our professor helps you in this center to develop it. And most importantly, to find funders for your project. So this is really important if you want to if you want to develop a special idea that you already have. Thank you for your attention again. We also, if you want to know more about the specific programs, I cannot go deeper into that because of course I'm not an engineer myself, and do you need a more specific guidance? So you can ask how the program is directly to our currently enrolled student, because who knows the programs better than them? And if you want to know everything about student life, programs, teaching, and so on, you can ask them, and booking a call on Zoom. There, it is totally free, and they are fully available for that. So do not hesitate if you have questions about programs. And one last question, one last thing. You can apply to up to 2 programs at the same time. So maybe you are not admitted in one, but you are accepted in the other one. So you have a backup option, and it doesn't cost more than the standard application fee. So thank you again for joining, and I leave the floor to the Q&A. I hope that I can be helpful in this.
Thank you so much, Gabrielle and Ryan. You guys have been really informative. I think there's a lot of information there for students to unpack. We do have some questions, so I'm going to jump straight in. The first question is, the GRE exam, is that not mandatory to apply?
No, the GRE is not mandatory. In fact, I listed it in the optional document. It is just it is optional again, but it can give you an edge if you provide it. You can be admitted anyway without it, but it just helps to be admitted, especially if you're applying to very competitive programs like computer science or management engineering. It can help. It is just for if you're applying for a program of engineering or architecture. It's not required for designer actually.
Okay, perfect. And how about the next question? Hi, do I need to know any Italian to join this university?
Only if you want to join a program taught in Italian, but most of our program at master and PhD and all the PhD level are entirely in English. So as I've said, we just required you to learn a little bit of Italian before graduating, but for the application, it's totally unnecessary. You don't need it basically. You can do that entirely in English and study entirely in English without any problem. We do not require you to have already a proficiency.
Amazing. And how about networking? Is there any help in networking whilst at PoliMi?
Yeah, there are our social events on campus, and in all our campuses, not only in Milan. Plus, I've mentioned the career service, which probably was the main point of the question. Yes, we organize some events with our partner industries and companies, so you can connect with them. They provide some career guidance. So the occasion of networking are not lacking in Politecnico di Milano, definitely.
Okay, and I think there's a question here about the process for PhD. They would like to ask about the admission process. Quite a long question, so bear with me. Is it possible to apply for the PhD with our own research topic? If I apply for
research topic, okay.
Research, sorry, yeah. Which the topic is not included on the topic on the vacancy call. Do I need to contact the potential supervisor first or apply through online admission?
Well, you can on our website the list of the coordinator of every PhD program. So you can for sure contact the supervisor, and but you should contact also the office of the PhD, which is International PhD at polimi.it. You'll find it in our contacts here anyway. So it depends, because there is one big call in general in spring, which is more open. There are more places, and you are applying to the let's say the standard programs of Politecnico di Milano. But there are other calls in autumn generally, where there are very specific programs, and you can choose among those specific programs. But there is really a vast choice of program in that. So, but for the details about that, you should ask the PhD office to. That can provide you some guidance and to guide you through the most suitable program and the most suitable the most suitable calls open for you. I have to mention that the service of Ask a Student that you see in this slide is open not only for students of master degree program, but also for students of PhD and Bachelor of Science, at least of those taught in English. So if you have some question about PhD, you can also refer to them. So our current student of PhD can provide you even more guidance. So I definitely recommend it.
Okay, thank you. And how about working in Italy? So can I work while I study there? Do you gain any work experience with your courses?
Yeah, you can work if you work outside the university, however, so in a position which is not an internship or something related to Politecnico, you are limited to only 20 hours every week for immigration issues. It is a rule for non-European students, so you are limited to only 20 hours every week. But that's one of the reasons why we recommend to search a position with us to working inside the university, because it is more convenient and more paid in general. And you can also do some internship. I know that so our student, even in the Ask a Student service, have done some internship while they are studying. So there is the possibility to do that for sure.
Perfect. And how about the social life in Milan? Maybe Ryan, you can answer this. How
Yeah.
are people in Milan? Are they friendly, helpful?
I think that most of them try to be helpful. I mean, it's gonna be a little different than what we would be used to in the United States and Canada, but you might notice they're hesitant just because they're nervous about speaking English. It's a big holdup for local Italians because it's not the most widespread knowledge in the country, but they do try. Like, even if they don't speak English, I even talked to some lady in a store and she went and printed off a piece of paper that she had typed in Italian, Google translated it on the paper and gave it to me to help me out. So they'll try. I mean, there's always going to be those people that don't want to put the effort in and kind of just shoo you off or only speak in Italian at full speed at you and you have no idea what's going on. But at that point, just try to find somebody else.
How about the social life? How are you finding that then?
Social life is great, especially with ESN. It's like there's like hangouts all the time. Every couple weeks there's something. Like I met friends from South America, many Italian friends, France, from all over the world. I've met people and you just all hang out and talk to each other, and then you go on trips with ESN and you can meet people for longer periods of time, and like you just kind of get to know each other. And they go to discotheques or nightclubs, as we would call them, all the time. And so like if you want, they have the little things for everybody. They do works in the parks where you go pick up litter, or they can go visit dog shelters, and there's stuff for everybody to meet the type of person you want to hang out with.
Okay, that's great.
Really
And yeah, that sounds good. And how about living in Italy? Did you live in campus? Is someone asking, do they need to live on campus or outside of campus?
You don't need to live on campus. Like almost all the students I've ever met don't live on campus. They live maybe close to the school, preferably, from my experience.
And how was that process? If I can ask, how was the process of looking for accommodation in Italy?
So there's like websites that most people use, and the school has a link to some, like Housing Anywhere is one I think we reference a lot, and they've got, or the ESN student organization has a Facebook group that's specifically for current students or like verified, like people renting out their apartments, or when they're leaving that somebody else can come into it. And so then that's a pretty safe place to get an apartment. Or there's other websites like Dove Vivo, which is all online and you book it and that's it, you're good to go. It's a surefire thing. But so it's a lot of online stuff for that, but you can find things if you know what you're looking for. Just be careful. Don't just, if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true.
Yeah, I agree with that. How about you, Gabrielle? What would your advice be?
Yeah, again, my advice is, as I've said, that if it's too good to be true, generally it's not true, as Ryan said. But again, my point is that you don't have to live right next to the campus, because sometimes the prices can be scary to you, but there's no need to be scared about those prices, because again, you can just do some take the metro line, and you will be fine, even if you are in a totally different part of the city, or even in nearby cities. So don't be scared by this idea that you have to be near the campus. And in general, Milan, I wouldn't say that it is a dangerous city or unsafe place to live. In Italy, in general, is a pretty safe country. So there's no need to be worried about that. That's all. And also there is an association that I know that provides some help sometimes to students, which is called Yes Milano, and they also provide assistance to students, and also even workers that want to go to Milan to work and study.
Oh, great! That's really useful.
Okay.
No, sorry, Ryan. Carry on.
I said I lived like an hour by metro away from campus for the whole 2 years I've been here, so it's by metro, it's chill. Like it's not hard. It's pretty comfortable, and that's in the city still technically. When I just lived on the opposite side of the city, no problem at all.
Amazing. Thanks, Ryan. And how about support at PoliMi? There's a question here. Is there much support at PoliMi if I'm dyslexic?
About what? Sorry, about?
About dyslexia. So I think if there's any support if you are dyslexic, or if you have any other
dyslexis. Yes, we have a service for that. Every Italian university has it. Is something pretty standard for our university. They even got some at bachelor level. They have a little bit of help while doing the admission test, because for bachelors we have admission test, and they got some help to get in, and they do different tests for that. But it is something pretty standard for Italian university to have this kind of services for a student with special needs.
Amazing, thank you. And there's a question here about computer science and engineering masters. They know that it's quite a competitive market. So is there an admission rate or a way to know how my chances are to be accepted?
Well, the admission rate actually depends also from one year to another, because since the application is, it depends on how many good candidates there are. I mean, so maybe we had cases of students that are accepted 1 year, but for some reason they cannot enroll. And the next year they try to apply again, and they were not admitted at all with the same requirement, because again, it depends from 1 year to another, and on the quality of other candidates. We cannot share exactly statistics about that, but my only advice is to have your application complete. So you put even the optional documents if they are not strictly necessary, but for those programs it helps to have them. So most of students admitted in programs like computer science have also the optional documents. So take care where you're doing your application. Take care.
Perfect. Yeah, that's really helpful. And last question here is, please can you repeat the admission deadline?
I'll do more. I'll show you the deadline.
Thank you.
Those are for PhD. Those are for master degree. However, everything is on our website is pretty clear. Those are the dates for the first call, which is open right now, but there will be another call from January to the end of February. So the chances of being admitted are the same. It doesn't change. It's just a personal preference. Personally, I recommend in general to apply in the first call, just because you got your admission before, so you have more time to prepare your documents for the enrollment. Because once you are admitted, you have to confirm that you want to be admitted at Politecnico Di Milano, and then there is the preparation of the documents for the enrollment and for requesting the study visa. So the first you get it, the first you are into the process, but you can do that even in the second call. Just a personal recommendation, but the chances of being admitted are the same.
Okay, thank you. And Ryan, any last words from you? Any advice you could give to the students?
Contact us should you have any question for concerning everything, concerning the application, concerning life, concerning services. Do not hesitate to contact us, because it is important that you receive the more information possible to guide your choice. And I recommend a lot to contact our students. You can contact even Ryan if you have a more question, and book an appointment on Zoom with them, because we noted that the service is really helpful for students and really helps to guide them toward a certain program. Or maybe you decided that this university is not for you. I don't know, but it is important for us that students are guided in the right to make the right choice for them, actually. So it is really important. And when visit our website, it sounds a little bit too trivial to say, but some section of our website are translated into English, but are meant for Italian student. So it is important that you refer only to the website for international perspective student, where the information are actually for students with a foreign degree. Whereas maybe if you check other parts of the website, you'll find the information for Italian, which are translated, and you get misled by them. And it is important. So should you have any question regarding documents, ask us before doing your application. Because if you do your application, you pay the application fee, there's the end, and we cannot amend your document later if you realize there is some mistake or some documents are incorrect. So ask before, so we have all the information ready, and then apply. That's important. And lastly, but not leastly, don't wait the last days of the call to make your application, because maybe there's an issue of payment, or some technical issue may happen with your personal computer. So if you wait till the last days, we may not be able to provide assistance in time. So I suggest to apply at least 1 week before the end of the call. It is important, so we can provide assistance. Or if you have some issue with the payment with the bank, we cannot help you in those phases. So it is really important that you do that on proper time.
Okay, and then there's just one question that's just
Yeah,
come
sure.
in here. It's about the CV. Are there any requirements of the CV, would you say, that they need to add?
Just put what you cannot put, or in other parts of your application. Let's say you cannot put something in your maybe there are some students, for example, that apply to a Master of Science here that already have a Master of Science but want to specialize in something more. Students are evaluated only on the basis of your bachelor degree career. So you cannot, it doesn't matter at least formally if you already have a master degree. But if you put it in your CV or in your motivation letter, it helps. So those documents are for being personal. So if you have anything to add that can help your candidate, it is important to add it. And also, I didn't talk about the portfolio. Which is important if you are a student of design and architecture. Portfolio is one of the most important documents if you want to apply to those programs. So it is really important for that document to be very selective and put on only a few works that are strictly, but very strictly relevant to the program you are applying to. You have a limited space because our professor wants you to be selective and to show some maturity in what you put in your portfolio. So that's important. And they also want to see the entire process from the sketches to the final work, not only the final work, you know. It is important to see how you reason on architecture and design. Also, that document is really important if you are considering architecture or design. Ryan, do you have some?
Yes. Ryan, please let us know any other advice for students.
Just just do what you are. Like you've done what you've done. Like boast about it a bit. If you're worried about applying, don't be shy. and humble at this point. Like, this is not the time to be shy and humble about who you are, what you've accomplished, what you've done in life. And then it's not, you also, if you're have any desire to do something international for like, this is like a set period of time in your life where you can be like, I'm gonna go to another country for 2 years, no strings attached, and then I can decide after that if I want to stay, go somewhere else. Like, it's just free. So like, don't be nervous, just things work out. Like, you can solve problems. Like, that's what we're in school for, is to, like, every day is a problem to solve. But in the work world, you're going to work from whenever you graduate until you're retired at 60 something years old. So if you take a job now and stay in one place, it's a very different experience that you might never have again.
Oh, thank you. That's really great. Thank you guys so much for your presentation today. It's been really
Thank you.
interesting to hear. And I hope that you guys will be in Milan soon. We'll find out. So for those of you who couldn't attend today, we will send you the video in an email, and all of your contacts will be forwarded on to Gabrielle and the team at PoliMi. So they'll be in touch very, very soon with your interests. So yeah, I'm going to say goodbye and thank you for all your questions, and we will see you hopefully in Milan soon. Bye, guys. Thank you for everything.
Thank you again. Hope to see you in Milan soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.